Welcome back to Good Morning LaLa. On Friday Feels, there is a love for food we all have for sure, and eating clean is very important these days. So Chef Mareya is in the house. Eat like you give a fork.
Yes.
Just saying.
Got to respect your body, you know? It's your house. So when you eat to thrive, you change how you think about food. So it's not about deprivation or diet. It's really about the best you that you can be with food. And you gotta love food. I mean, we gotta embrace it, not think of it as sacrifice.
Right. So I heard you before, you were talking about colors and how color is so important to look at instead of just looking at organic, like you could have a bunch of organic sugar.
Right.
It's not necessarily good for you.
Exactly.
But looking at your plate, like from a color perspective, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So the first strategy in the book, well, it's 8 strategies, and the 8 strategies really help to build the whole you. And the first strategy is retraining your taste buds.
Yeah,
and with that, we're all about cutting the cravings of intense sugar and salt, which are in most processed foods. And when you stick your tongue out, your taste buds for sugar and salt are on the tip of your tongue. So it's literally the first thing that you crave. So we start with the rainbow, and you're eating foods that are bitter and sour and umami, so that you're really bolstering your taste buds to crave the foods that build health. And it's like, if you were to, think about it, every food that comes from nature that is a different color helps to boost your body in different ways. Red foods are good for your blood and for your heart. Green are good for your cells. So it really is in line with nature, but then we're celebrating the flavor of food so that you eat better for the long run.
I love that. Yeah, I've heard that things like, they actually cabbage looks like a brain. It actually helps your brain. It's amazing.
Exactly.
It's so cool how all the foods are like.
When you look to nature, you can really find the answers to a lot of things. And as a chef, I've always thought there's a way that we can intersect the two. We don't have to think about, and I hate the word diet because it starts with die, and nobody wants to do that. But if you think about eating in a way that is beautiful and tasteful, and you engage all your senses, but you do it with foods that really come from the earth as your priority, that's a beautiful fusion. We just have to teach people how to do that without feeling like they're ever getting deprived.
It's like a deep practice in mindfulness, isn't
Yes,
it?
exactly. And Eat Like You Give a Fork, for me, it's a very playful book. The whole book is very fun to read. It's kind of like your girlfriend talking to you. And, it's not about shaming. It's not about having to wear a badge of honor saying I'm paleo, therefore I this, or I'm vegan, therefore I this. This is about celebrating you. And if you need to restrict your eating plan, that's up to you, but you don't have to. You can follow a plan that gives you a variety of foods and still eat to thrive.
It feels too restricting, I'm like an identity of I'm paleo or I'm vegan or whatever.
I'm keto.
It just feels too restricted and too dividing.
Well, when you dive into it, and I've coached literally thousands of people, and the first thing that they say to me is, I want to this, I want to that. So when you really look at what is your goal, what are you trying to accomplish, then you can customize from there. But there's fundamental practices that apply to everybody. Everybody should fill their plate with non-starchy vegetables, period. And that's the first thing that we dive into. Everybody needs to think about lowering inflammation. Inflammatory foods and lifestyles are the cause of 95% of the lifestyle diseases these days. So if you can lower inflammation with your eating practices, you're winning,
What are some specific foods that will lower inflammation for us?
Yeah, so it's very high antioxidant rich foods. So we focus on leafy greens is one of the huge practices in the beginning of the book, and it has a whole strategy for it. So everything that you could think of that's green, from broccoli to kale to spinach to collard greens, and everything. It's all in that category. And then layering in things like, I'm a huge fan of raw apple cider vinegar. I think I've shared that with you guys in the past too. And that's part of the real vitality tonic that you drink with your meals. And if you think about it, when you combine all of these foods that lower inflammation, like omega-3s and other foods that are mentioned in the book, and you drink the right things and you lower your stress level, what naturally happens is your body kicks into gear. Your body's an amazing machine. You just have to feed it the right way and give it the nutrients that it needs to be able to regenerate, to be able to lower cortisol when you sleep, to be able to increase the hormones that help you feel satiated.
I think it's really sad because so often people don't realize the way to feel better is to eat better.
Yes.
Instead, they're over medicating, they're looking for things rather than starting with their plate.
Or they're dieting to the point where they're restricting their calories so much and they're restricting their food groups so much that they are unconsciously like malnourishing themselves. Like imagine if all I told you was, let's focus on what to take out of your eating plan. Like don't eat dairy and don't eat meat and don't eat this and don't eat that, instead of focusing on what you should eat. That's the game changer. This is focusing on what to keep in your food wardrobe. And I make a lot of analogies to that. Like if you looked into your closet and all you saw was like a few packets of ketchup and some takeout containers, like it's time to reevaluate. Because if your closet looked like that, you'd have nothing to wear and you go shopping, right?
Right.
So you start with resetting your taste buds, you build your real kitchen so that your refrigerator becomes like your haven. There are so few
But in
things
LA,
that
we
eat,
only
and that's
eat
where it
out.
starts.
We only eat out. So
The kitchen. What's the kitchen?
Yeah, I
That's
know.
why your book to LA. Literally, people generally, majority of my friends eat out most of their meals.
Yeah. Well, I think that it starts with, if you want to improve your health, you can't sleep on your plate. And you can't rely on places like restaurants and places that you eat out to take care of you. And I apologize to the restaurant. It's
true,
not
though.
saying that you're never going to eat out, but if the bulk of, it's kind of like giving responsibility of something that's so important to somebody else and saying, I'm just trusting in you to take care of me. You don't know anything about me.
Yeah, because they can make vegetables,
you know
but they
what I
can put
mean?
it with terrible oil. You have no idea because they're trying to save money.
You
Let's
don't
face
know what the
fact.
additives
Yeah.
that are getting put into your food are. Portion sizes. I mean, portion sizes, generally speaking, are 2 to 3 times what they should be. And so, I would say try and at least start with breakfast at home. Breakfast is so easy, and we have so many different great dishes, from amazing smoothies. There's a wonderful vanilla date shake that you can make at home that's so easy to do, that's full of nutrients, that's very satisfying. Egg dishes and chia seed puddings and things that you can make overnight that cook themselves. Start
like
with
that.
breakfast, start
More
with
sugar.
breakfast and then watch what happens, because breakfast, I know it's a cliche, but it really is the most important meal of the day. Start there, and then when you set yourself up to not having sugar in the morning, you'll be in a better position the rest of the day. And oftentimes people say, well, I'm not hungry in the morning. Well, you need to train yourself to eat, just like training yourself to go to the gym or training yourself to adopt other healthy lifestyle, practices. Starting with breakfast is so critical.
Nice. Well, tell people where they can find and follow you and get your book.
Yeah. So bookstores near you. We're in a variety of bookstores. Nationwide. You can get it on Amazon. You can visit our website at eatcleaner.com. And if you text ELYGAF, or Eat Like You Give a Fork, to 22828, we'll give you some more information about how to get started.
Oh,
Thank you
wow.
so much.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Chef.
Thank you,
Stay tuned.
guys.
We'll be back with more. Good morning, La La Land.